All right, so the real reason that we're ending the Tagline live stream is so we can focus on our other passion, the Cinefanatics experience, where we will have the unknown in a warehouse. Spoiler alert, the unknown is Lola, our cat. And then we'll also have our lab, which is basically me making candy hamburgers that look like a Breaking Bad lab. That's our kitchen.
Basically, all this to say, we won't be serving chocolate there either.
I mean, we will. It's just not the chocolate that you think.
Start the show!
What is going on, everyone? It is, say it with me, the penultimate Tagline. That's right. The second to last, apparently, is what that word means. We are the Cinefanatics. My name is Robert Adams.
I'm Chris Adams.
And yeah, I feel like this is pretty much the second to last, like, official live stream show for this. Feels just kind of like in a silly mood. Just overall, just silliness.
Non-stop silliness from here until next Wednesday.
Or it's just me trying to overcompensate because I got a couple of ridiculous customers at work today that need to be taken out back and treated like a rug hanging on the clothesline.
Given moonshine and let to do what they will amongst themselves.
Left to their own devices.
Left to their own devices.
That being said, whenever you call customer service, be friendly, be nice, be decent. Moving on. So Tagline, got some movie news to talk about, including some more Dune. Where did that come from?
Part of it, I think, has something to do with the movie voice guy over on Honest Trailers.
Oh, yeah, because he would always do the Dune. Yeah, that's right. Okay. I was trying to figure out where that originally came from.
Epic voice guy.
Yeah. Epic voice guy. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so yes, we will be talking about some Dune and some more stuff here in a little bit. Let's get the YouTube stuff out of the way. Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics. If you have any questions, comments, issues, complaints, or whatever, send them up there. Streamlabs.com/Cinefanatics for all of your whatever needs that I typically say.
Yep.
Also, patreon.com/Cinefanatics. Again, even though this show is stopping, we are still continuing on, trying to build this. If you feel like this is worthy of your support and you have the means to support it, please hop on the tier that is good for you. $1 tier, $5 tier. $1 tier gets you access to the Discord. $5 gets you access to the monthly movie watch-alongs and the monthly trivia hangouts. Let me see, for the Discord for right now. So even if you're at the $1 tier, I do have the list of MCU villains that we will be tier ranking on the marquee next Friday, the 15th. I'll talk about that more here in a little bit. But if you want to see that list of villains, go hop on the Discord right now. They are posted and available, so you can start formulating your lists in your mind to let us know what those lists are.
And just to be clear, the show is not ending. It's just undergoing a renovation of sorts, a remodel, a facelift, a change up in the format. It's not going to be live. It's going to be a couple times a week, maybe at most. And it's going to be whenever there's breaking news happening. And it's going to be a lot shorter than this. It'll basically just be what you would see someone doing, like a brief, let's share the news show, like a 10 minutes. Here's the news. Here's our thoughts on it type situation as we get news coming out. So, yep, that's where Tagline is going, and that's what Tagline's going to end up being.
Yep. So, that support is us. All coming up. Do what?
So, support us.
Yeah, support at patreon.com/Cinefanatics. As far as the watch-along and the trivia, so the watch-along is going to be next Wednesday, the 13th. After the final Tagline, we will be doing our movie trivia. We will be doing our movie watch-along. Not sure what we're going to watch. I think we're planning on putting up a poll.
We'll put up a poll on Patreon for it. So if you're a part of our Patreon, not only will you get to watch along, you'll get to vote in a poll of about 4 movies to determine which one will be the movie we watch along with you.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that. And then trivia, the movie trivia hangout is going to be on Wednesday, the 27th, the last Wednesday of this month. I was going to say after the tagline, but there won't be a tagline. I don't know if we're necessarily wanting to change the times on those now that they're not tied to a actual tagline.
TBD, the time might shift. We will have to also ask our question writer based on his schedule as well.
Well, so for this month, I'm the question writer because we're going to be doing a Ghostbusters trivia. So if you're a big fan of Ghostbusters, since there's a new Ghostbusters movie coming out the end of this month, come hop on that $5 tier and join us for a Ghostbusters trivia. I will be doing the questions. I will be the question writer this month. That allows our normal question writer, Vernon, who is a massive Ghostbusters fan, to actually be able to play. And he deserves some fun time playing movie trivia to movies that he likes. He does a good job over here with those questions. So happy to take his position for 1 month and write some questions and see how well he does. If you think you have the stones, the lasers, whatever to also take on someone who loves Ghostbusters, hop on that $5 tier and come join us. So that will be Wednesday the 27th. Right now, still tentative at the 8 Pacific, 11 Eastern, but we will make notifications. Just make sure you are staying tuned to us here on YouTube, as I probably will put up like community notes. I'll also make announcements on like Twitter, Instagram. So there's always all those social media places that we will be making those announcements, since we will not be doing a live show every week to update people on what we're doing.
Make sure you got your notifications on everywhere that we are. That way you don't miss anything.
So yeah, follow us at the Cinefanatics and all those places.
And yes, it will be all of the movies. William
Is
Harold.
it all the movies? It is all the movies, including the 2016 movies, or the 2016 movie. They didn't make more than one of those.
The movie comes out after that trivia, though, right? So we won't be
the day after.
We won't be having any questions from the actual new movie.
No, it'll be the first Ghostbusters, including the 2016, and then also including Afterlife, but not Frozen Empire. I was trying to think of like, what is the subtitle for this movie? Because they're like, movie subtitles nowadays are starting to get like way too generic. Such and such, Resurrection, Afterlife, Return of the
Dawn of the Rise of the.
Yeah, they're so generic. Just
Into the Darkness of the Rise of the Dawn of the
way of something or another.
And Batman.
Batman begins, Batman ends, Batman still going, Batman continues, Batman is rising, Batman is falling. Anyways,
Batman's in the public domain. Batman is horror.
That's going to happen. I guarantee. I think Superman's actually the first one that's going to hit public domain. I would say like be on the lookout for a Superman horror movie, but they kind of already did that.
Also, didn't we already get a horror Batman? I'm pretty sure we did. It was called Morbius, right?
No, we're going to get a good horror Batman. And by good, I mean it'll be at least probably as decent as the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, which was still better than Morbius.
I think you misunderstood. When I said horror, I meant horrible.
Oh, yes. I think you heard some bacon and eggs. What I was saying was all bacon.
What I said was all the bacon and eggs that you have.
Love making Parks and Rec references when I haven't actually watched Parks and Rec. Anyways.
There's so many shows that we need to catch you up on.
Yeah. Like Bad Batch apparently has started now, and I haven't watched those yet. I need to catch up on those.
It's in its final season, so you'll be able to binge everything by the time you start it.
Hey, I love it when they do that. It's how I watch Breaking Bad. Anyways, upcoming shows. Tomorrow, there's 2 movies coming out this weekend. Was it Kung Fu Panda 4 and Imaginary? Haven't seen Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda. The entire like Asian group just completely canceled me on that one. We have not seen Kung Fu Panda 1 through 3, so we will not be seeing Kung Fu Panda 4 tomorrow. I will go see Imaginary. So kind of curious to see how that's going to be. It's the first of 2 movies involving imaginary friends this year. So let's see how this one is coming from, I believe this is being made by Blumhouse.
And to be clear, it'll be the one of the 2 that I will not be seeing.
Yeah. So I will be seeing that tomorrow night, so stay tuned for my out of the theater reaction. I'll probably have a spoiler-free review up on Friday sometime during the day, so just stay tuned for that. This Sunday, speaking of staying tuned, is going to be our yearly Oscars watch-along. That is going to be this Sunday, I believe. Again, the Oscars, I want to say...
They start like at 6 o'clock our time or something like that.
Yeah, so it is Central Time, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So we will be starting 30 minutes earlier, so that's going to be 5:30 our time. So that will be 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern.
Wow, that is super early Pacific time. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
it's an all-day affair for the people over on the West Coast.
Yeah, but that means that by the time like actual primetime TV starts at like 7 p.m., they'll already be done. So
I guess that's the benefit.
Kind of a benefit of living on the West Coast also is like, was it like the Disney Plus shows were going live like at 2 a.m. Central Time, but midnight on the West Coast. That would be nice to be able to still watch those before I have to go to bed for work.
Yeah, except they were like for a while they're releasing them even earlier, but for some reason Bad Batch is later now again. But
it's just not important enough for them to release at that like 8 p.m.
Maybe. Oscars watch along is going to be good. So what was the time again? We are going to be going live 30 minutes before the show. So
3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern.
So 5:30 our time. Yep.
Yes. So we will be live right here for your viewing enjoyment. Every time I say right here, I immediately think of Genie doing the Ed Sullivan impression from Aladdin. Right here, right now, for your viewing pleasure. So,
boomer.
Yeah. Anyway, so that is this Sunday. One nice thing, and I could probably talk about this here a little bit more in a minute, is gives enough time for the I'm Just Ken performance. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. I think out of all the performances, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
That's the one. That's what we're all watching the Oscars for this year. Nothing
like
else.
Last year was Natu. This year, I'm Just Ken.
Hey, I'm down every year. If there's like one banging song out there from movies that the Oscars does a crazy cool live performance of, let's make that an annual tradition.
The only thing, though, is like I remember last year I was disappointed that they shortened the song to like 3 minutes and they didn't even get the actors to come back and do the dance. I wanted like the full, 10-minute long musical number with the actual actors.
It was still pretty epic what they did, but yeah, it could have been better.
It was a little underwhelming. Yeah. So fingers crossed that this one with at least we know that Ryan Gosling is doing the I'm Just Ken song, so that's good. But
just hope that we also get his backup.
Yeah, I want the whole stage like decked out.
Simu Liu, Scott Evans, Kingsley Benadir, everybody.
Yeah. So let me see what else we got. So Oscars watch along. This will be interesting because as of like a little while ago, I have seen all of the Best Picture nominees now. So I'll talk about that here in a minute.
I have not.
Yeah. So that is this Sunday, the 10th. And then Friday, March 15th will be the marquee, as I was talking about. We're going to be tier ranking all the MCU villains. Again, if you have access to our Discord, those are on the marquee channel on the Discord, so you can see that list. It's like 31 villains. That's a lot of characters we're going to be talking about. So
it is a hefty, extensive list. I don't think we doubled up on any villains for any one singular movie. So
like Loki's the villain for Thor and also the villain for Avengers.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Or are you talking about like more than one villain per movie?
Like Iron Man 2 does not feature both Whiplash and Justin Hammer.
Yeah, we got just Whiplash on there.
Yeah, he's usually the main villain from these movies. And it's also, we're not doing every single movie either, because can you name the main villain of Eternals?
Crow? No. I mean, it just depends. Like Crow's a villain.
Is he?
Ereshim's a villain. Icarus or whatever his name is a villain. Yeah, they all have villainous tendencies to them at some point throughout that movie.
Which one's the main villain? See,
there isn't one really. I mean, other than the Celestials being the main villain, and the fact that they're trying to hatch another Celestial in our planet, thus killing all human life. Which is another way to deal with all of those customer service people that keep calling in rudely. Poof, gone.
It's a way to deal with a lot of things.
That would solve all of our problems. Ooh, that's a dark way to look at it. Anyways, so yeah, Marquee coming up Friday the 15th. That will be 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. So, movies watched. I see Chris has watched Dune 2 Sandius.
Literally nobody else sees the show notes except you, but I'm still wanting to have fun with what I put in there anyway. Yeah, I watched Dune 2 Sandius.
That's great. Let's see if I can post that. There you go. Dune 2 Sandius. Yeah, I forgot that I watched that also.
You forgot that you watched Dune 2?
Sorry, I've been like so busy focusing, like I'm just really zoned in on getting the Best Picture nominees watched that I completely forgot I watched Dune 2. Did I even put it on my Letterboxd? I could have sworn I added that.
I did. It's my #1 movie of the year so far. I've only seen 3.
Yes, I did. Okay, cool. So yeah, that is easily #1 movie of the year. But I mean, that's not too hard. The other #1 was Argyle. So
have I only seen 3? Did I put Madam Web on? Yes, it is. Okay, never mind.
That is the lowest rated movie of the year.
And there it will remain until Craven comes out.
And then we'll see. Who knows?
We'll see.
Let's see. Jeremy Miller saw the first IP Man for the first time and really liked it. I've been wanting to check that out. That was Tony Jaa?
Ip Man. No, it's John Wick and Rogue One.
Oh, Donnie Yen. Donnie Yen.
Yeah, it's Donnie Yen.
Madam Web counts as a movie, sort of. I mean, it's long enough.
How many Ip Mans are there? There's like 4 or 5 Ip Mans now. Something like that.
I'm like IP Man. I am the man in charge of intellectual property. Do you want to make a movie based off a comic book character? I'm the man you need to see.
Do you need a martial arts person who's also blind but still doesn't seem like they're blind? Call Donnie Yen.
Because he is one with the Force and the Force is one with him.
He's done it at least twice.
That's funny. So yeah, Dune. We'll talk about some more Dune here in a little bit as well. I keep saying like we're just going to talk about that later. But yeah, Dune 2, really good. We do have our review up. Go check that out. So
Dune 2.
So yes, over this past week, primarily just this past weekend, I've just been cramming in all of the Best Picture nominees that I haven't seen yet. So I watched Poor Things, American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Maestro, and Zone of Interest. Whew, that was a lot of movies.
Didn't you watch Past Lives also?
Oh, I did watch Past Lives. I forgot to put that on there also. Yeah. Past Lives was good. I want to say probably out of all the ones that I've watched, Past Lives and Anatomy of a Fall were probably my favorites out of all those. Anatomy of a Fall was really good. I would also make sure everyone knows that if you haven't seen Anatomy of a Fall or Zone of Interest and you're trying to watch both of those before the Oscars on Sunday, give yourself some time in between because they both star the same lead actress. Both of them star Sandra Hüller. So it's kind of strange because she's a character that you're sympathizing with in Anatomy of a Fall. And then she's the wife of a Nazi commandant in Zone of Interest. She's not necessarily evil in Zone of Interest, but she is married to a Nazi. So and that's a weird movie. But yeah, put yourself some space into that. I watched Maestro in between them just to space them out, and that helped, I believe. So,
Yep.
Anyway, so I'll talk more about those. I don't know if we actually want to talk through them real quick.
I mean, you can kind of just give your thoughts and feelings of which one you like the best, and then we'll probably talk about the Oscars here in just a second and kind of give your predictions based on the fact that you've seen them all now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, real quick, I feel like it's going to be fairly easy. I believe Best Picture is probably still going to go to Oppenheimer.
After having seen them all, you're fairly confident Oppenheimer is still sweeping.
Yeah, I believe Oppenheimer is going to get that. As far as do I have one that I personally would like to see? I mean, out of all those, I would probably say I really liked Holdovers probably more than any of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Holdovers was really good. Barbie's really good. Killers of the Flower Moon was really good, but yeah, I think I had a better time with Holdovers than probably any of the other movies on there. So that's what I would like to see win, but it's not going to. It's going to go to Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think that is it for all of that. Let's move on to some movie news.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good evening. This is what's happening in your world tonight.
We apologize for the interruption.
back to you.
All right.
I don't know if we're going to be able to reconfigure that movie news intro into anything in the future. I think this is the second to last time we might ever see that.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
How's that box office looking? Can we guess what number one is?
Yeah. Don't take my line. Can we guess what the number one movie in the box office is this week?
Nope. No clue. Absolutely none.
If you're saying anything other than Dune Part 2, you live under a freaking sandworm.
I've heard it's quite warm, actually.
It's Dune Part 2.
Oh, really?
Two Dune, two Sandias. Dune Part 2 made in its opening weekend a total of $82.5 million in the box office. So, folks, cinema's not dead.
Yeah, that's not bad.
If you make a good movie and you put out a good movie, people will go see it.
Yeah. Now, this is also a movie I believe will have legs, because I'm already aware of people who have seen this movie 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times already. So this movie's going to continue for a while.
And also, it doesn't really have any real competition until the end of this month.
Oh, come on. Imaginary's going to...
It doesn't have any real competition until the end of this month with Kong and Ghostbusters. So,
which, again, that's just weird that they decided to release both of those on the same day, and no one is moving. At this point, I think it's too late for either one of them to change their dates.
It's too late. Tickets are on sale, I think, for probably both of them. So,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Dune 2 opening weekend, $82.5 million, which is, wonderful, because that movie is wonderful.
Damn.
Which does unfortunately mean number 2 spot, we bumped down Bob Marley, One Love. And just to be clear, I want to be very clear. So Dune Part 2, opening weekend, 82,505,391. Bob Marley, One Love, total gross over the course of 3 weeks, 82,773,141. Dune nearly made the entire amount of money that Bob Marley has made in 3 weeks. The movie, not the man, has made in 3 weeks in 1 weekend.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We say Kong, but it's a Godzilla and Kong movie. I keep forgetting that it's not just Kong, it's Godzilla and Kong.
Like William Harold, Ghost and Conger, see both the same day. No, I do not have time for that.
It's Godzilla busting.
This is going to be just watch one of them, and then we'll probably watch the other one the next day.
Yeah,
maybe.
Third place in the box office, we've got Ordinary Angels in its second week. Made another $3.7 million. Fourth place is, for some reason, this Chosen show. Fathom Events are still running this, and it's at the number 4 spot. It's not a movie, so whatever.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Fathom Events. They're about to release that Winnie the Pooh sequel pretty soon.
The Blood and Honey sequel?
Yeah.
Fathom Events? Oh, weird.
Like they're releasing it like in a week or two or something like that. So there's your competition for Dune. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2.
Didn't they just announce that movie was being filmed?
Yeah, so I think you're underestimating how cheaply made these movies are.
Did they shoot it in a week?
Pretty much, yeah, probably.
Yikes. Woof. That's not enough time for anybody to develop any real character in that movie.
If you've seen the first one, you know what they're working with. It's, yeah.
Well, I would rather watch the number 5 place other than Winnie the Pooh, and that's Madam Web.
Madam Web's at number 5. It hasn't fallen out of the top 10 yet.
Nothing has released other than Dune.
All right.
And The Chosen season 4, episodes 7 through 8, which is over Madam Web, by the way. Just want to be clear about that.
I know they just announced the Madam Web, like, I guess, digital and physical release. And I saw pictures of like a Madam Web steelbook, which looks awesome. Too bad the movie's just terrible.
Did they announce it coming out at the end of this month?
Something like that.
Yeah,
or like early next month.
That makes sense. I'm surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised it's not coming out next week.
Yeah.
The thing about that is so we've got Imaginary, we've got Kung Fu Panda 4, so there's 2 movies. We've got Godzilla and Kong, and we've got Ghostbusters. So there's 2 more movies. Now, I don't know what other movies are sprinkled in there. I think there might be like 1 or 2 other low-key releases happening in between all of those films. But if there is, there's at least 4 movies right there. Madam Web is in the number 5 spot.
I mean, here's the thing. I think Madam Web could be taken out if like Angel Studios releases just 1 or 2 movies.
Right, at this point. A hard bet Madam Web falls out of the top 10 by the week that Ghostbusters and Godzilla Kong comes out.
Yeah, if it's still in the top 10 by the time those movies come out, what's wrong with America?
And literally the only reason it stays in the top 10 is because nothing else releases. That's it.
You know what? Sony, re-release it. Release it again, you bastards.
That's not happening.
Are you sure? Because we would have said the same thing about Morbius.
Well, Morbius is the precedent showing that it's not going to happen again.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is tonight the tagline, the mods retire? No, it's next week.
No, we still are going to do live streams on this channel.
Oh, yeah, we are still doing. Yeah, that's right.
Just because the tagline's in it doesn't mean we're not going to do the live watch along to the Oscars or the marquee every month.
Yeah. There's Maxwell with the Dune 2. I just like the second we were done watching Dune, I did a reply on my tweet, and I was like, I only have one word to say, damn. And Maxwell is like quick with the response, like, yep, that is the correct answer. I was like, that's great.
I can't wait for Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
That's hurting my throat. Anyway, yes, Madam Web is at the number 5 spot. Crazy. Number 6, Migration. The Ducks still hanging in there.
They're not beating anywhere. Madam Web.
Is Migration out on home release or streaming or something at this point? I would imagine. Yeah, see this right here, that's like you were saying. You were talking about the legs that Dune's going to have. This is why. Because Maxwell's not the only one doing this.
No. I know one of my buddies from Fantastic Fest has already watched it like 7 times. And what's funny is everyone who's saying that, or everyone who's watching it multiple times, they're all saying the same thing as like what Maxwell just said. Everyone's like, I think I might be obsessed with this movie. I might have an obsession.
Listen, there are worse movies to be obsessed over.
Yeah, Madam Web.
Madam Web. Number 7 is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Hashira training. I said it quicker this time.
What was that?
It is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Hashira training.
I'm sorry, my internet cut out. What was that again?
I might be saying one of those words wrong. Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Hashira training.
That was good. All right.
I almost wanted to try to see if I could do it with the delay. Make it look like I'm dubbing over. Yeah. But
Demon Slayer.
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
The other words.
To the Hashira training.
Everything else that you're saying.
Anyways, I'm not familiar with Demon Slayer, but there you go.
No.
Went from number 2 to number 7 in its second week. I think that's a very niche crowd for that one, so I don't see that one hanging out too long in the top 10.
Well, I would have thought that whatever that Chosen show that Fatima the Vince is doing, I thought that would be a very niche audience also, but
no. Well, so the reason you keep hearing about that is because they're releasing multiple episodes in chunks. So every time I'm talking about it, it's not the same
episode.
It's not the same ones. This is, we've done episodes 1 and 2 or 3 and 4 or something like that. So I don't know how many episodes there are of that show that are getting released right now, but there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8 is Wonka. Wonka's still hanging out in the top 10. So as we predicted and as we rightly knew, Timmy Chalamet has got 2 movies in the top 10. Go Timmy.
I figured Wonka would probably fall to like actual number 10, but the last time I checked, Jesus has more than just a niche audience. Oh, is that what that show is about? I guess that would make sense. The Chosen. That sounds like, yeah.
Probably. I think it's sick. One of those Christian shows.
Yeah, Jesus doesn't have a niche audience.
No, he's got a pretty large global audience, to be honest. But there you go.
He's got a lot of followers, at least 12.
Okay, moving on. Number 9 is Argyle, and number 10, The Beekeeper. There you go.
I keep hearing that that's actually really good.
The Beekeeper?
Yeah, like
no, I heard it's not great, but it's also just fun anyway. So
I've heard a lot of people refer to it like the 90s like schlocky action movies like Eraser or Demolition Man, those kinds of, which I love. That's definitely my genre that I absolutely adore.
It's kind of it almost feels like it's Jason Statham's bread and butter at this point.
Yeah. So I still want to see that.
Almost as many followers as the Lisan Al Gaib. Lisan Al Gaib!
That's great.
Anyway, that's your top 10. Dune Part 2. We'll be watching that with great interest. It's probably going to have a very tiny, minuscule, very small drop-off in its second week. Just the tiniest possible drop-off, because there's nothing else really coming out that's taking that audience right now.
It'll be number 1 until Godzilla, X Kong, and Ghostbusters.
The real prediction here is to try to figure out going into next weekend, is Kung Fu Panda 4 going to be number 2, or is Imaginary going to be number 2? Because
Kung Fu Panda.
Kung Fu Panda is probably a wider audience, but we'll see. If Imaginary is good,
we'll see. I mean, I have like a lot of trepidation over a PG-13 horror movie. Like,
I mean, that's
PG-13 horror at the beginning of the year. I mean, it seems like it might be an interesting concept, but I don't have faith in it.
That's also a wide audience too at the PG-13.
Yeah. What was it like last year? We had that movie, The Boogeyman, that came out earlier in the year that was like a PG-13 horror movie. That was just awful. Like I couldn't. Mm-mm. The only good thing about that was David Dalsmalchian has a brief role in it. That was it. So let's move on to some quickies. Got a little bit of quick news. Nothing really to unpack here, but just kind of funny that this is in the news. Final Destination 6 has started production.
Pass.
Yeah, I figured. Here's what, like, normally I would have been like Final Destination 5 it ended in a good way. Like the Final Destination movies were just kind of limping. They just really were not that interesting. The 5th one, it was pretty good. It was decent. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the greatest, but it was easily watchable and pretty entertaining. It had a nice little twist to the end. I liked it. I would have normally been very leery at Final Destination 6 being made, but it's been years since we've had a Final Destination movie, and it seemed like that entire franchise was just done. We've recently seen evidence that when you take beloved horror franchises and try to bring back for one more, those one more that they're bringing back turn out to be really well done. Look at 2013 Evil Dead or the 2023 Evil Dead Rise. Saw X last year.
I wouldn't even say that's necessarily specific to horror because, you know, we go back and look at Fast and Furious. Nobody thought we would get another one after Tokyo Drift, but then they did the fourth one and brought all of the butts back to the seats.
Well, I'm just saying out of blinders just to the horror genre.
Yeah.
Horror has been doing a good job of bringing back older IP that has seemingly been dead. And bring them back, and they're all doing pretty well. I mean, like David Gordon Green's first Halloween movie in 2018 wasn't bad at all. It was very entertaining. I think they did a very good job with it. The rest of them, they should have just stuck to the one. But on the other hand, his Exorcist movie that came out last year, terrible. Just no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm cautious about Final Destination 6, but at the same time, there might be a possibility it turns out to be a good movie. I'm kind of curious as to how many different ways can death be going after people. We've exhausted almost all the major big spectacles of what that initial crash and premonition is going to be. So
this next one is going to be done in a modern age, and it's going to be two guys sitting there doing a podcast, and the microphone is going to explode in their faces. Yeah, that's the big central death scene of the movie. It's a little bit more on the down low than the other ones have been, but it is cruise ship now. What if it's Final Destination 6, but it takes place on the Titanic?
I was gonna say mix that with Ghost Ship, which is a completely forgettable horror movie, except for that opening with the wire that's whipping across the deck and slicing everyone in half. Like that was great scene. Great.
I'm just saying, Final Destination 6 is like a prequel film, and we find out that it actually does. It's like a period piece that takes place in 1912 on a cruise ship heading to the Americas. And
someone gets a premonition that it runs into an iceberg.
Someone gets a premonition that's gonna run into the iceberg, so they don't get on the ship.
And so the whole Final Destination is taking place in England, but where the ship was leaving port. This movie's writing itself, y'all. I mean, if that's not Final Destination 6, I think we've got Final Destination 7 in the bag. Final Destination 7, Return to Titanic.
Final Destination at sea.
Titanic failure. Whatever.
Gosh.
Anyways, next movie news. Bad Boys 4 has wrapped production.
Bad Boys for Life.
Called Bad Boys 4. They haven't told us what the title is. It comes out in June. We still don't have a trailer.
Bad Boys for Life. Oh, wait, that was the third one.
Yeah, I don't know. I get a little bit worried when it's a big franchise, a beloved franchise like the Bad Boy movies. We don't have a trailer. We don't know anything about it. I don't know if I've even seen like production stills. Nothing leaked from the set. Like, we don't know what exactly is going on. Is this still going to involve all the kids, the trainees that they had in the third one?
Are people actively looking for a Bad Boys set leaks?
I don't know. I'm just saying, typically we would have something. Most movies from popular IP would have something that would have leaked. See, it's called a callback. Would have something that would have leaked normally. People want to see images of Martin Lawrence and Will Smith like actively filming some kind of high octane stunt on a highway with a car that doesn't involve Vin Diesel. Like, people want to see that kind of stuff. So it's kind of weird that we haven't gotten anything like that yet.
What if they release a trailer and at the end of the trailer, the stinger that leaves you off and makes you want the second trailer is you find out that Chris Rock has a cameo in the movie? That would put butts in seats. I'm telling you right now, if Chris Rock had a cameo in that movie, butts would be in seats.
If he's the villain, like come to find out he's the surprise villain of the entire movie.
Cameo.
It's not going to be a cameo. He's going to be the villain, and the whole thing's going to be based off of this time. The slap is coming for him. Like,
I'm just wanting him to like knock on the door or whatever, and Martin Lawrence answers the door and says, "No, this one's for you." And Will Smith comes up and goes, "No," and then just shuts the door.
They do the whole Bad Boys 2 with the kid coming to date Martin Lawrence's daughter. Who are you? You look
exactly.
30.
Exactly. I really I think the biggest piece of interest I have right here is what are you calling this movie when you already used For Life for the third one?
Yeah. All right. And then the biggest piece of news, the one that everyone was so eager to hear this past week, apparently Zack Snyder sat down for an interview with someone or another. I know who, I'm just bypassing that. And he's talking about his next Rebel Moon movie, which, did you know there was going to be a second one coming out?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And then on top of that, what his plans are for the director's cut of both Rebel Moon movies. Saying that the director's cut of both of them should clock in at about 6 hours long.
Did you just confirm that the second one's going to have a director's cut too, and it hasn't even come out yet?
Yes. Sofia Boutella is reportedly kind of disappointed that people didn't like the first one, because she was like, look, I had a lot of fun making this. Regardless of what people think, I'll always have memories of filming this movie, which that I love. Like, I hate the fact that when these movies get bad reviews and we hear the outpour of the people who made the movie and how much this movie meant to them and what happened. Like, there may have been people who met and fell in love on this set, and they will always cherish the memory of working on Rebel Moon. It sucks, but like, I like hearing that, some kind of positive from this.
No, yeah, no, I'm very happy that people who work on the movie were happy to work on the movie. Like, do work that makes you feel happy in life, you know? Glad for you. Your movie was still butt though.
Yeah. It's like Sydney Sweeney. You can find her in Anyone But You, or her new movie Immaculate that comes out this month at some point. But you can't find her in Madam Web.
She was in Anyone. You might recognize her from Anyone But You or Euphoria, but you definitely don't recognize her from Madam Web.
That was such a funny line.
Yeah, honestly, probably the funniest part of that entire SNL episode, save for Weekend Update. Typically hilarious, but anyway, Rebel Moon, first one was, gosh darn, regular cut was what, nearly 2.5 hours already on its own.
Yeah.
And then Zack Snyder's like, hey, there's going to be a 3 or 4 hour or whatever director cut or something like that. And then now, of course, we know the second one is coming, and that one's also going to have like a 3 or 4 hour director cut or something like that too.
Now let's give him a little bit of credit.
No,
that Zack Snyder director's cut of Justice League was better than the initial Justice League that was released.
Yes, but do you know how often I've gone back and watched it?
I know me. I've only watched it one time. I have not gone back to watch it again.
I watched it one time.
Because I don't have 4 hours to dedicate to a movie that takes place in a universe that no longer matters.
And on top of that, you don't have like a passion for the movies that exist in that, because it doesn't matter if the universe doesn't exist anymore. That's not the thing. It's, do you like the movies? Like, I like both Aquaman movies. I might revisit those at some point, even if they don't matter anymore because the storyline of the universe is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've seen Man of Steel a couple of times.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad, The Suicide Squad, Birds of Prey. I've watched even though the first Suicide Squad movie, but I have seen it more than once. So
that all being said, I put this out on Twitter and I stand by it. I don't think there's a working director today who's higher on their own damn supply than Zack Snyder.
And I mean, I guess bless him. I mean, his Watchmen was really good. His Dawn of the Dead remake was really good. I enjoyed both of those movies. 300, not bad. I thought 300 was pretty decent. I haven't seen whatever his girl power movie, Sucker Punch. Yeah. Haven't seen that. Haven't seen the Guardian Owls of Ga'Hoole or whatever it is.
Yeah. Rebel Moon was terrible.
Yeah.
is what we're getting at. Rebel Moon was bad. I don't want to see a director cut of it, and I don't care to see the second one.
Nope. I have no interest in that second one at all whatsoever.
So there's a scale I put these things on. If you want to talk about a movie that, expands an entire universe, tells a story of a whole universe, really immerses you into this universe, its rules, its lore, everything. You've got, of recent date, you've got the Avatar movies and you've got Dune. These movies are wonderful. I don't care out there what your opinions are of Avatar, if you think they're overblown or whatever. I don't care. They're very well made. They're very well made. Way of Water was fantastic. I like both of them. Deal with it kind of a situation. Avatar and Dune, great examples of how to do the immersive universe of movie, like how to do it well. Rebel Moon, no, sweetie, no.
I mean, if nothing else, like I remember at the beginning of last year, I was getting Rebel Moon confused with The Creator. Like, I knew there were two like big, like epic sci-fi movies that were coming out at the end of the year. We may have seen like some images or ideas about them, and I was like, wait, which one's which? And now that I've seen them, like The Creator was on a good path for world building. I don't know if it necessarily is going to need a sequel, but it was a very well done sci-fi movie.
I would watch one.
People just did not see, unfortunately.
I'd be down to watch one if they made a sequel of that.
Yeah, I think they did. I think they did great on that movie. Rebel Moon, no, I don't. I honestly don't remember anything from that movie.
I do.
Other than Sean Chandler was hosting the press screening that we went to. That's it. That's all I remember.
I actually remember quite a bit from that movie, and that's good enough to last me for the rest of my life. William Harold right here. The Snyder Cut being drastically better than the original Justice League just enabled him. Pretty much.
I mean, possibly.
Pretty much.
Kind of hard for us to guess how his head was working. But I mean, there's definitely a possibility that like, oh, they like my Justice League. Well, they may like my Rebel Moon. We'll see. Probably not.
I think they're just finding like people out there are saying like, I want more original stuff in Hollywood. I want more original movies. And then Zack Snyder's like, well, here's one. And people are like, nope, not like that. Not like that.
Yeah. And I don't like the general public seems to be like saying no to Rebel Moon. And then the response is, well, you said you wanted original content. Yeah, we want good original. Like, I think The Creator actually was based off of a graphic novel, if I'm not mistaken, but it's a graphic novel that generally most people were not aware of. That's like when Blade came out in 1998. Most people didn't know it was based off a comic book. They just thought it was another vampire movie.
I think my definition of original counts to, like, I understand it's not everyone's definition of original. My definition of original counts on if you are adapting something to film for the first time.
Yeah.
So like The Creator is a new original. It's now potentially a franchise, but it's original in comparison to anything else that's like, a sequel or another part of a long running franchise, like say the MCU or something.
No, actually it looks like The Creator was original.
Was it original? Well, there you go. I thought it was based on something.
I thought it was also.
Cool.
Yeah, apparently that is an original story. So yeah. So always keep that in your back pocket whenever you get into those conversations like, well, you said you want original and you don't like Rebel Moon. Yeah, we're talking about good original movies like The Creator.
Well, there's nothing original in Hollywood anymore. Did you see The Creator? No?
There you go.
Complaining. Yeah.
So
pass on Rebel Moon.
let's get back to talking about our main topic, because enough devoting our second to last live tagline to a movie that we just really don't care about. Let's talk about a movie that we actually really liked.
Dune.
Yeah. Apparently they want to do a third one. Go figure.
Wow. What? Tell me more.
Okay,
Shocking.
well, I will. Apparently Hans Zimmer's already been instructed to start working on music for the third one.
He was instructed on that during the actual filming of the second one, right?
Yeah, I think he's already, they've already been working on that. Denis Villeneuve is already multiple times publicly saying that he's already in the process of working on the next one. I guess the next one's supposed to be based off of the third book, which is Dune Messiah.
I believe that's the second book.
Well, okay, yeah. Sorry, I forget that the two Dune movies that we got were technically all just the one Dune book to begin with.
Yes.
This is what happens when you don't read the books, when your people in your YouTube comments are telling you to read the books.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not a reader.
That being said, Denis Villeneuve has stated that this would wrap up the trilogy. This would wrap up essentially his time with Dune. So we would automatically believe that Dune Messiah is the finality of the Dune movies, until inevitably Warner Brothers says, wait, there's other books. We would like to hire another director then to take over. And they end up ruining the rest of them.
Yeah.
I'm being very pessimistic there. Let's hold off on that, because that's a future that hasn't happened. Let's talk strictly about the Dune 3 that we will be getting. That will be absolutely wonderful, and we hope it sticks the landing.
So apparently, I'm not going to fully talk spoilers for Dune Part 2, but those of y'all who've seen it, which has been almost everyone, we've got a new emperor of the galaxy, so to speak, and we are starting to now lead to this emperor's rule over the galaxy, as long with a lot more pressure from, I guess, the Bene Gesserit, a lot more of just push on this to the entire galaxy.
Hey,
no, I'm still here.
Internet cut out there. Go back over there. Something about Bene Gesserit, and then say it again.
So the Bene Gesserit are probably going to escalate. We're going to have a lot more having to do with the religious connotations of this. So, and it's going to essentially start what sounds like a holy war across the entire galaxy. So it might be interesting. We might be pushing more towards a Star Wars level, where we're not necessarily just hanging out on Arrakis the whole time. Again, haven't read the books, don't actually know what happens in the books.
This is
just the bare minimum that I've read as to what is potentially going to happen in the next movie. So
we have some idea. Who have not read the books have some idea of what Dune Messiah goes towards, and basically, I can't wait to see what Timothée Chalamet does in the future.
Yeah,
more or less.
So I'm eager for this. I don't know how soon it's going to come out. If there's supposed to be some time between the first Dune story and the Messiah, if they're going to give some time in between. Can Denis Villeneuve go work on another more personal movie and then come back and work on Dune, let people age a little more?
I'm curious to see. Yeah, I'm curious how far in the future does this story take place? Because we know of somebody who was casted, who was a late casting announcement for Dune 2, who has a brief spot in the movie.
Super brief. Blink and you missed it.
Who I would believe should have a stronger role, or an actual role, going into Dune Messiah, but
yes,
there's 12 years between. See, that's my thing. I'll be curious to see how that works there then, given that individual who was casted, because that's not enough time for them to be of the age of the individual who was casted. I'm still hiding spoilers right now, because
how do we feel about spoilers for the first Dune movie?
That's fine.
Okay. Apparently, there is a part of the book. Again, I don't know the details, but there's a part of the book where they essentially resurrect Duncan Idaho.
Is it really?
Yeah. He's not necessarily Duncan Idaho. I think he's supposed to be a completely different character, but it's the spirit of Duncan Idaho now inhabits this other character, and I guess that character is supposed to have some kind of relation with the other character that we're hiding.
Interesting. Does that mean Jason Momoa comes back?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because I feel like that, like Dune Part 2 was really good, and we're just missing me some Momoa. I needed some Momoa up in there. So,
yeah, Dune needs some more. Yahoo!
My man. Riding that
but-
sandworm. My man.
I am very curious though to see how the story unfolds for the third one, because yeah, there's a lot there that they can obviously do, and you know, obviously Dune, and I'm not quite familiar with it, so I'm excited to see what the story becomes. You know,
Yeah,
it comes back as Aquaman. They already did that.
Yeah,
in
they already
Aquaman.
did that. Like technically almost twice. There was a little bit of desert in that second movie also. So
Aquaman's already been in the desert.
I like the first movie. So like the Aquaman movies, I know you're going to roll your eyes at this, but it actually is kind of funny and makes sense. The Aquaman movies seem like they're just like different POIs in Fortnite. You got like the underwater, then you got the desert, then you got the jungle. Like
You talk about Fortnite way more than I do, and I'm the one that streams it on Twitch.
I'm just using it as a comparison. It's funny. It like the jungle scene really did feel like the jungle in Fortnite.
This man is 40-something years old.
I'm just, I can't figure out anything else to compare it to. That's what's on the top of my head right now. It just so happens to be a part of the world that we live in. So, I'm eager for Dune 3 now. Again, as we said, like on Twitter and also in the review, if you haven't seen that, go check out our review for Dune Part 2. Anyone who has had a hard time watching Dune, highly recommend watch the first one with the subtitles on. You'll feel more in depth, like in tune with the story. You'll feel like you're a part of that world, being able to see what the words are. Like, what's the one that y'all said earlier?
Lisan al-Gaib.
Yeah. Like in the movie, they say that so fast, I don't know exactly what they're saying, but when you turn on subtitles and you can see the word, like, okay, so now when I hear that combination of letters, I now know what they're referring to. And there's a lot of words. There's even words. I had seen the original David Lynch Dune before watching the first Dune, and I was still lost on some of the things that they were talking about, even though I was able to follow the David Lynch Dune pretty well. Which, here's another fun one. Those of y'all who have seen it or haven't seen the David Lynch Dune, now that you've seen Dune Part 2, go back and watch the David Lynch Dune, and it's weird, man. It's so strange. Like, I started rewatching it, and I'm about like halfway through. And yeah, it's just strange, like the parts from the Denis Villeneuve movies, that how they are translated in the David Lynch version. And what stuff is in David Lynch's version that's not in Denis Villeneuve, like the Emperor at the beginning meeting with the Space Guild and that creature that's in the water tank thing. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah,
That's the cat.
So looking at it, Dune 3 has not actually been greenlit by Warner Brothers yet.
It will.
But it kind of has. They haven't made the official it's greenlit, it's happening, everybody announcement, but it is going to be in the works. The line of reasoning is they want to wait till Denis Villeneuve finishes the script first before they officially announce it. So it's greenlit, but it's not greenlit yet.
I wonder how that actually works, because like
they just haven't made a public announcement.
Are they still going to pay Denis Villeneuve for his time creating that script?
Yeah.
Okay. So essentially the movie starts some form of production.
Of course they're paying him.
Well, yeah, but I'll say if the movie's not green lit, then he's writing a script for like no reason. So I would expect he's still getting paid for his time to write that script.
We're just using terms here. It's officially going to happen. It just hasn't officially been announced publicly yet.
this isn't like he's writing a script and hoping to pitch it in the hopes of getting it greenlit. He's pretty so the reason I bring it up that way is going back to Fantastic Fest, talking to C. Robert Cargill. I was talking to him right when they made the announcement that the writer's strike was over. That was during Fantastic Fest, and I immediately wanted to go pick his brain about it. And he was saying he was working on a script, even though it's like a script for him personally. He was already in the process of writing that script, and he had to stop when the strike happened. And now that the strike's over, he can go back to writing it. But it's his own personal.
Pretty much everybody who works at the higher level in Hollywood like that, they're not hourly.
Yeah.
They work for a lump sum amount of money. Like Robert Downey Jr. reportedly being paid like $50 million or whatever to do an Avengers movie. It's not $50 million an hour or $50 million a day or a week or a month. He's being paid $50 million to do the movie. But Denis Villeneuve is being paid a certain amount of money to do Dune 3, and that includes writing the script.
But I'm trying to separate it between someone who's writing because they just have a passion and love for writing and they hope it gets greenlit versus they're spending their time writing the movie with a very good chance that it's going to get greenlit.
Yes, in this situation, he's writing a movie that is 100% going to be greenlit.
Yeah. While my example of C. Robert Cargill, he's writing because he just loves writing, and it may not be a movie that is immediately greenlit already. But very likely probably being directed by Scott Derrickson.
Exactly. So in the meantime, Denis Villeneuve is also working on, I think he's got like 4 projects right now that are kind of in the works. 1 or 2 of them, I think, might end up taking place before Dune Messiah gets made. So when we could see Dune Messiah is probably at best somewhere in 2026, maybe the latter half of 2026 at the earliest. Maybe 2027 at the latest, probably.
I want to see if they're doing kind of like how Christopher Nolan did it with the Batman movies. He would make Batman Begins, then he went to go make The Prestige, then he did Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Then I think he did Inception, then came back to Dark Knight Returns.
I think that's a beautiful way of doing it. That's how you keep people who are on the same creative field as like Christopher Nolan or Denis Villeneuve. That's how you keep them coming back to something with fresh eyes and a fresh, renewed creative mindset. Let them go do something else that they are really passionate about and want to do first, and then let them return back to the world. It's like whenever I'm like on stream and I'm playing a game or something on stream, and then I go to bed for the night after having been on stream for several hours. I get up the next day going, hey, you know what? It would be fun to play that game again. After I've taken some time to rest and be away from it, when you go back to doing it again, it's a lot more fun again, instead of I just did this for several hours and I'm bored with it now.
I also think there was a lot more interest in Christopher Nolan's movies in between the Batman. Like, I feel like I was more interested in The Prestige or Inception because we just came off of Batman Begins and The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And both of those movies being really good. I'm like, all right, I like what this director's doing. He's got another movie coming out. I might be more interested in seeing his work now that I really like him from his Batman movies.
Yeah. That being said, I need to watch some other Denis Villeneuve films so I can catch up with his full filmography. I might be throwing on Sicario tonight.
Yeah. Anyways, so that is going to do it for tonight. Dune 3 coming out, probably, very likely. So pretty much guaranteed.
It's 100% guaranteed.
Yeah. So that is going to do it for this. Let's talk about stuff coming up real quick. Again, tomorrow I'm going to go see Imaginary. I'll have a out of the theater reaction and probably a full spoiler-free review up on Friday. So go check that out. Make sure you stick around for that. Hit that bell so you know when these videos are uploaded, because it's going to be at some random crazy time. Oscars watch along is this Sunday, March 10th. We will start our annual live stream here at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. So come join us for that. We do it every year. It's a lot of fun. just watching the Oscars and all the craziness and nonsense that happens there, and the slaps and the wrong Best Picture being called out and whatnot. Just
I love that so many years later we're still talking about that.
Dude, that one was so good. Like, I keep going back and reading like the behind the scenes of what all happened. It's just amazing that something could get messed up that badly. But it's also really fun to hear the people's interactions, like the production team for La La Land, how they responded to that scenario, how Jimmy Kimmel responded, how everyone was handling themselves behind the scenes. It's really interesting. So anyway, so we've got the Oscars watch along. We got the marquee coming Friday, March 15th, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. We will be tier ranking the Marvel Cinematic Universe villains. There will be some F tiers. There will be a couple of F tiers, but there will also be some really spectacular S tiers on that also. So, I think I just explained how the show actually works.
Yes, it's a tier list ranking.
Anyway, so come back for that. Otherwise, that's it for the show tonight. Thank y'all for watching. If you're watching this on a replay, let us know. Give us a comment down below. Hit that like button and subscribe. Make sure you follow us on social media at The Cinefanatics on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. You can follow me personally at RCA Reacts on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Letterboxd. Also, youtube.com/RCA Reacts.
And you can follow me at Chris Adams MLP on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd, as well as twitch.tv/Chris Adams MLP.
Anyways, that's going to do it for tonight. Again, thank you all for watching. We very much appreciate it. We will see you next Wednesday for the final live streamed episode of The Tagline for at least the foreseeable future. Anyways, later. Good night. Bye.